Hello, I see a lot of familiar faces here. My name is Danilo. I'm from the Kakarot team, and today I'll be presenting a little bit about. First, I would like to talk about why the zkEVM, why Kakarot. Probably I'll be repeating some of the things that a lot of people already heard when they first got into Web3, but I think this kind of values are very important. And then I will talk about what is Kakarot, zkEVM, and how Kakarot is a community-driven project, how it was born, and where we are going to, and yes, hope it's interesting. So first of all, I'm gonna ask first, like, when I was doing this presentation, I was first asking myself, okay, why Kakarot? Why zkEVMs and why blockchains? And the feeling that I felt is that what we are trying to achieve in a more broader scale is that what we're trying to build as a society is to bring more trust. And why is trust so important? First, trust brings social cohesion. It makes, when there's a higher sense of trust, people tend to collaborate more. I think all the points here we can like clearly see happening on Web3, which I see as very exciting. When there is a higher sense of trust, there is also more innovation and progress because people tend to collaborate more and also take more risks. They tend to invest more and even like try out different things. For example, I myself, if I trust my friend, I will probably invest on him. And also, trust is really important for resilience and adaptability, something that we really need today, especially because if you trust your institutions, you're more willing to work together with them on solving problems. While if you don't trust them, they can be bringing a valid problem, but you will be like, I don't know if it's a real problem or not. And most important of all, I think it's also very important for the well-being of everyone as a society. And I think this is the most important thing that we're actually trying to solve trying to bring. And in our current society, there is a lot of abuse of centralized power, misinformation, corruption. We see a lot of things. We thought that the internet would be something that can save us, and now we see that the internet is also something that is being used just in another way. And so that's why blockchains are so powerful, and personally this is what brought me to blockchain. Once again, I think a lot of you guys already have seen this, but with blockchain we have decentralization, trustless. It means it doesn't mean there is no trust. It means that because we trust math, we don't need to worry about trust. But actually this also means 100% trust. So also there's transparency, security, immutability, which in the end help us bring more sense of trust in society. And once again, I'm bringing this again because even though we are in Web3, a lot of times I see that some projects might forget about these kind of things. And in Kakarot, we try to always remind ourselves. So right now, we have blockchain, but it's not perfect, right? It's a new technology, and most people who are here probably also know that one thing that we are trying to solve is scalability. And one of the main issues with blockchain scalability is because we need consensus, naturally it will make it slower. Block sizes limit us in terms of how many transactions we can get, and also there is latency. Some of the possible solutions that are being worked on are sharding for parallel computation, for more data, off-chain transaction mechanisms, rollups, zk rollups, and zkEVM. I believe that the best solution will not be just one of these, but it will be a combination of all of this. Like we're seeing, there's dank sharding, which will improve EVM, zkEVMs, scalability, and all that. But for today's talk, I'll be talking about zkEVMs specifically Kakarot. So first of all, what is an EVM? EVM is a Turing-complete machine that allows you to process smart contracts and update a state that is distributed and it's decentralized. And why zkEVM? So in zero knowledge, zero knowledge is not so compatible with how EVM is built. But why are we building zkEVMs and not just zkEVMs? And that's basically because right now there's a big community around EVM. There's a lot of tooling, a lot of things already being built, and a lot of momentum going on. And that's why we believe that even though there is some performance trade-off, it's important to have this on top of Starknet, because then we can connect all these ongoing technologies to a very strong ZK technology that we believe in, which are the Starks. So how Kakarot zkEVM works right now, Kakarot is as a smart contract on top of Starknet. And basically, we receive bytecode, we process everything as a smart contract on Starknet. And then here from here on, is the same slide as Ori showed. It's proved and then verified on L1, and then the state div is applied on L1. So right now, Kakarot doesn't have its own block time or its own TPS. Everything is on top of Starknet. And one of the things that we believe why Kakarot will thrive, especially as it goes, is because of the incredible technology from Starkware and Cairo, which allow us to build and iterate things really fast. Just as a context, most of the zkEVMs, especially if you're using snarks, you need to have a specific verifier for different functions. So for each opcode, you need a verifier, and in the end, you need to put everything together to verify everything in one place. While in Cairo, you can verify any code with the same verifier, which allow us to basically build all the opcodes in a few months instead of a few years. And the most powerful thing is that we are getting this knowledge, but we don't have like cryptographers, PhD, or like super math-heavy people to be able to build the zkEVM, and that's because I think we have a great partner. And how Kakarot was born? Actually, Kakarot was born with the inception was a tweet from Shahar from July, and then some community members thought there was going to be a hacker house in Lisbon, and we were like, hey, what should we build on the hacker house? We should have some projects. Why not build on zkEVM during the hacker house? And the hacker house was managed by Only Dust. Abdel from the Starkware team started he created the repo and said like, hey guys, this is an open source repo. Whoever wants to join, here it is. And a few of us joined, and that's how we got started. And I remember we were implementing all the opcodes during this week. It was really funny. We were in a hacker house. We wanted to have the first transaction on the zkEVM within almost 3 weeks of inception. And we hard-coded a lot of things. And one of the things that we did is that to translate between EVM addresses into Starknet addresses, all the contracts on Kakarot started with Abdel. This was to give homage to Abdel, who was the initiator. Right now, it's not like this because of security reasons, but it was really fun. For I think a month or two, all the contracts on Kakarot started with OX Abdel. It was actually very good for debugging because sometimes we had a bug and we will look at it and it's like, hey, it's not starting with Abdel, what is happening? So it was very interesting. Kakarot, it is very strongly community-driven. We have, like I mentioned, It started as an open source project, and only now we are actually becoming a company, and we are actually incorporating it because we want to have a proper team. We want to like really up the quality of the project and also have like more dedicated people. But we have 33 contributors, and it's 100% open source, and it literally started with issues on GitHub. So where are we today? We have already implemented 100% of the opcodes. Actually, we have achieved this 3 months or 3 to 4 months after we started, which was in around February. Once again, thanks to Cairo, because if we had to write a specific circuit for each opcode, this would definitely be a lot harder. And I think like as EVM keeps changing, Kakarot will have this advantage of being able to adapt super fast. Right now, we are only missing one precompile, which is also being built by community members, and not by the Kakarot team itself. So there's a lot of projects on Starknet, and actually the last precompile, which is for snarks validation, it's on the way. So once we have this last precompile, we can say that we are a type 2.5 EVM equivalent EVM, yes. And I think I might be going really fast, but I hopefully there's a lot of questions. What's next? Right now, with Kakarots, like I mentioned, we are as a smart contract. One of the things that we want to allow is to have Solidity or EVM contracts interact with Cairo contracts on Starknet. Some of the people say Cairo is hard to try to learn, but at the same time, we don't want them to miss the opportunity of being able to use Stark. So Solidity will be something that they will be able to use on top of Starknet. Right now, there is, like as we talked, there is a community member who is building a optimistic rollup on top of Kakarot, because like I mentioned in the beginning, once we have the EVM, we can have everything that's, or at least most of the things that Ethereum has on top of Starks. So all the zk rollup technologies, all the optimistic rollups technology, all these EVM SDKs now can be brought into Starknet with just copy and pasting the code. Kakarot is also exploring its own L3 as on Starknet with the Madara team. And also, once we build it, we'll probably also have SDKs for zkEVM rollups on top of Starknet, and maybe possibly on L1s as well. So, because we believe that dApp chains, such as topologies, Soshin, Dojo, and other applications will be the future for, at least it could possibly be a strong contenders to the future of Web3. So yes, basically we hope that Kakarot can become the main gateway for a lot of these incredible teams that are building a lot of things around EVM. So if you are interested, and even if you have already a Solidity project, come build with us. We're going to have our testnet soon. We are already connected to MetaMask. We are very close to having our own Kaka swap as testnet. So yeah, it is already possible to build on top of Kakarot, which is already deployed on Goerli testnet. Thank you for your time. And I forgot to add the email, but it's contact@kakarot.org. Yes.
So, does anyone have any question to Kakarot? Oh.
Thank you. Hey, I was wondering, do you have any idea of the timeline for the RPC integration?
So we already have the RPC integration with local DevNets. It's not 100%, but it's already possible to test. Like I mentioned, there's already a team or a person building a whole roll-up on top of Kakarot. So yes, so it's testable. There are some things that you might bump into. We are fixing as we go.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.